Luis Rodriguez was born in 1954 in El Paso, Texas, and grew up in Los Angeles, California. In the 60s and 70s, he was involved in gangs. After graduating from high school, he worked as a school bus driver, a factory worker, a carpenter, and a journalist.
Every few years, Tia Chuka would visit the family in a tornado of song and open us up as if we were an overripe avocado.
She was a dumpy, black-haired creature of a people who often came unannounced with a bag of presents, including some homemade perfumes and colognes that smelled something like rotting fish on a hot day in the tuna cannery.
They said she was crazy. Oh sure, she once ran out naked to catch the postman with a letter that didn't belong to us. I mean, she had this annoying habit of boarding city buses and singing at the top of her voice. One bus driver even refused to go on until she got off. But crazy?
To me, she was the wisp of the wind's freedom, a music maker, who once tried to teach me guitar, but ended up singing and singing, me listening and her singing, until I put the instrument down and watched the clock click the lesson time away. I didn't learn guitar, but I learned something about her craving for the new, the unbroken, so she could break it. Periodically she banished herself from the family, and was better for it.
I secretly admired Tia Chuka. She was always quick with a story, another pet pedo joke, or a handwritten lyric that she would produce regardless of the occasion. She was a despot of desire, uncontainable as a splash of water on a varnished table.
I wanted to remove the layers of unnatural seeing, the way Tia Chuka beheld the world with first eyes like an infant, who can discern the elixir within milk.
I wanted to be one of the prizes she stuffed into her rumpled bag. James Weldon Johnson was an African-American man born in 1871 in Jacksonville, Florida. He graduated from Atlanta University. He was a school principal and he started a newspaper. He was the first African-American lawyer admitted to the Florida bar. He moved to New York in 1902 and became a Broadway songwriter with his brother. He wrote Black Manhattan and God's Trombones. He died in 1938 in Wiscasset, Maine, after the car he was driving was hit by a train.
When I come down to sleep, death's endless night, the threshold of the unknown dark to cross, what to me then will be the keenest loss? When this bright world blurs on my fading sight, will it be that no more I shall see the trees, or smell the flowers, or hear the singing birds, or watch the flashing stream, or patient herds? No, I am sure it will be none of these.
But ah, Manhattan's sights and sounds, her smells, her crowds, her throbbing force, the thrill that comes from being part, her subtle spells, her shining towers, her avenues, her slums. Oh God, the stark, unutterable pity to be dead and never again behold my city.
Randall Jarrell was born in 1914 in Nashville, Tennessee. He graduated from Vanderbilt University in 1939. In 1942, he joined the United States Army and served for 4 years. He wrote Losses and The Woman at the Washington Zoo. He died in 1965 in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. He was walking along the highway when he was hit by a car. Some suspect it was a suicide, while others consider it an accident. From my mother's sleep I fell into the state, and I hunched in its belly till my wet fur froze. 6 miles from earth, loosed from its dream of life, I woke to black flak and the nightmare of fighters. When I died, they watched me out of the turret with a hose. Gary Soto was born in 1952 in Fresno, California. Growing up, he worked as a migrant farm worker in San Joaquin Valley. He attended California State University, Irvine. He later taught at the University of California, Berkeley. He earned awards like the Bess Hotkin Prize and the Levinson Award for his work.
At the factory I worked, in the fleck of rubber under the press of an oven yellow with flame, until the border patrol opened. Their vans and my boss waved for us to run. "Over the fence, Soto!" he shouted. and I shouted that I was American. "No time for lies," he said, and pressed a dollar in my palm, hurrying me through the back door.
Since I was on his time, I ran, and became the wag to a short tail of Mexicans, ran past the amazed crowds that lined the street and blurred like photographs in rain. I ran from that industrial road to the soft houses where people paled at the turn of an autumn sky. What could I do but yell vivas to baseball, milkshakes, and those sociologists who would clock me, as I jog into the next century, on the power of a great silly grin.
Ah, look at all the lovely people. Ah, look at all the lovely people. Eleanor Rigby picks up the rice in the church where a wedding has been.